All right. Been asked about carbonators. Now, got a customer who has a carbonator motor that is continuously running. Basically, the pump at the pump that does the carbonation is getting hot. That is because the system has built up pressure and the pump is continuously trying to pump and pump and pump and add more pressure to it. Now, result was a hose burst and went everywhere because the system had too much pressure in it. Now, that pump is only supposed to turn on when the system needs to make more soda water. Then it turns off. What controls that is a probe. Now, on the newer carbonators, most newer machines will have a probe like this. This probe basically tells the pump when to turn on, when to turn off, and looks like yay. Now, several other things can affect it as well. It might not be the probe. One-way valves can die, which don't let the water go from the water pump into the carbonator. And if no water's getting into the carbonator, that motor will just run forever because the probe won't tell it to turn off. Another cause of an issue could be there's too much ice in it, in the machine. Even if you're at the top of the machine, it looks like there's no ice. Sometimes you get uneven ice formation, and ice can pile up at the bottom of the machine, which can freeze the water line, because from the pump it usually goes through a chilling coil, then into the carbonator. And if that water line is frozen solid, once again, no water gets into the carbonator, so the probe doesn't tell the motor to turn off. So a couple of things can go wrong with that. So if your carbonator is running and the pump on the front's hot, if it's room temperature, then it's usually not working. If it's all the motor's turned off, which is what you want. Basically, that motor, as I said, should only turn on for a brief period of time and turn off after the probe says there's enough soda water in the system. If it doesn't, then there's not enough water getting into the system somehow. So your choices are, A, your tap's turned off and your machine either doesn't have or has a broken pressure switch to test for water pressure. One-way valve has died, probe has died, or there's too much ice. So that's what you check for with that type of machine. Different type of machine, older types of machines have, instead of a probe, they have this. Inside the machine, this and this you'll usually find submerged inside the water tank, so it's all kept nice and cold. Now, right in the middle of these ones, there is a shaft. On that shaft goes this little black box. This little black box works as your probe. It's all magnetic. As the water level rises, a little magnet in here rises up, which turns a little switch inside here. Now, a couple of things that can go wrong with this one. First of all, it's all magnetic. It can get stuck. So if your motor's continuously running, take this off, give it a shake. You can actually hear it moving. Turn it one way, the motor should turn off. Turn it the other way, the motor should turn on. So, make sure that happens and watch the motor turn on and off. Now, this also has to be placed fairly precisely on the spindle. So what you need is to make sure it's clipped on properly, then pushed all the way to the bottom. If it's not all the way to the bottom, it's hitting something, then there's an issue. What there is usually you'll find one of these on the bottom. That is a measurement from the bottom. So it measures how far it should be pushed down, all the way down, till it's solidly against the bottom, and if it comes away from that, it's also going to be a problem, so then it needs to be pushed in and up tight. So if your motor's continuously running on one of these machines, that's the first thing to check. Make sure, take it off, give it a good shake, then push it back on the spindle and push it all the way down so it's in properly. That will usually fix this type of system. I mean, I've seen a couple of these go, but usually they're fairly solid. So that's the first thing to try with these types of boxes.